Hello, friends, and welcome to Virtual Strangers 35. I'm your host, Wes. With me, as always, my good friend, Ruuts. Ruuts, I had some doubts about this week. Coming off the Monday show last week, looking at the week ahead, I thought that we were going to have a nice, slow, calm, relaxing week. And by the time the weekend got here, that I'm going to have trouble putting together a show. Anything but, right?
Yeah, there was all sorts of stuff that just popped up halfway through the week and just continued to keep popping. So,
Yeah, there was stuff, but none of it memorable. None of it really all that spectacular. Refresh my memory. Was there anything specifically that happened this week that really warrants talking about?
oh yeah, I remember Espire 1 dropped. That was the big news
Oh,
for the week, I think.
yeah, Espire 1 did drop. That was huge
Oh,
news, but there was something
no,
else.
no.
There was this other
Yeah,
thing.
no. It was Vader Immortal. It was so big that everybody in our Discord forgot about it until like 8 or 9 o'clock that night, and we were like, "Oh shit, Vader came
Oh,
out."
yeah. No, there was another thing. Was it Boneworks? Boneworks had a new thing, right?
Yeah, new trailer, and they actually dropped the price as well. So I think that was it. That was big news as well. Actually, that trumps
Oh,
everything else that we just
oh,
talked about, I think.
no, there was another one of these games. It was an old flat game. On the tip of my tongue. What was it? What was it?
Mm,
Oh, yeah. There was this thing. This Half-Life Alyx. You know, we pride ourselves on doing different content here on this channel, but this one's just too big not to talk about. Half-Life Alyx was revealed this past Thursday, the 21st of November. Uh, Again, this is the flagship VR title that has been promised for so long now from Valve. Coming in March 2020. You can pre-order it now for $60. Ruuts, $60. This is a new high for VR, is it not?
yeah, but it's also I don't know, from what everybody's saying, um, our first real AAA game that we're gonna have in VR, built from the ground up. I never played Half-Life 1 or 2 before this last week, and so I didn't know how big this was. But man, the hype and the reaction trailers is our videos to the trailer is what really got me. Just watching a lot of flat gamers just freak out when G-Man comes out, and I'm like, oh my god, like that is like the thing. Oh my god, G-Man, And so it's a huge. This is bigger than I thought. I didn't think it was as big until I really started looking into it and realized this is probably the biggest thing that's ever happened to VR so far.
Yeah, well, I knew it was big, and I knew it was going to be big. I, like you, have never played Half-Life. This not my thing. I don't have all of this nostalgic attachment to the game that everyone else seems to have, but I knew it was big because this game is always the one that comes up when people start talking about their mythological wish list, what they could have. This one is the one that always comes up to the point of it being a meme even. um, this is pretty much the holy grail for VR games. The only thing that could have made it bigger is if it were Half-Life 3, obviously, and not a prequel like it is. But it's a big enough deal, and that much was made obvious by the emotional reactions of so many people in the video game community. I mean, I've seen people crying over
Mm.
this game, Roots, more than one this past week.
Let me ask you this: is there any game that could make you cry? Like if it anything that came out into VR that you would just like, and maybe not even a real flat out crying fit, but maybe an Anthony tear rolling down your cheek as you're playing it or something.
Oh man, I don't know. Maybe some Nintendo games, I might have that kind of an attachment with because I started on that stuff at such a young age, such an early age. But I don't know, man. Not like this. I don't think so. Maybe, but I would like one of my favorite games was Resident Evil, and I already have RE7 in VR. I'd like to see RE1 get remade if that were ever possible. I think that would be a great game.
Yeah, this thing, I guess it's just it looks so next level as far as the just everything about it, the movements, and I guess everybody's really marveling as far as just the pushing the bucket out of the way and moving stuff on the shelf, looking for bullets. So you're actually scavenging, like literal scavenging, and you're moving everything in the environment. And I played, a couple hours of the Half-Life 2 and got to see how, some of the mechanics work as far as moving stuff around. And it doesn't look as good as this, obviously, because it's 15 years ago, but it was good. So,
yeah, that's what really excites me about this game. Valve's reputation precedes them, so I know this is going to be something special. It's going to be a AAA, a true AAA VR game. Now, is it going to be the best VR game that we've ever seen at that point? And I'm not so sure about that. I think a lot of people in the VR space have this notion about this game because all of the old Half-Life games, what they're known for above all is innovation. Each chapter has brought about some new innovation to video games that's never been really done before, or at least not to the extent that Valve has done it. Now, a lot of people in the VR space are taking that as this game is going to innovate inside the VR space like those games did outside. And that's not necessarily how I'm taking this. I'm thinking that maybe VR is the innovation. That not so, I mean, don't get me wrong. I think this is going to be one of the best VR games ever. But I think that when we look back at this game, it's not going to be so much what it did to change VR gaming, but what it, like the ones before it, what it did to change gaming overall by bringing VR into the consciousness of the common gamer. At least that's what I expect from it as a layman, as someone who's not familiar with the series. What do you think, Ruuts?
Yeah, I agree. I think it also bring a lot of AAA polish, just everything. Like, the thing is every game that I've played has some jank to it, I mean, I guess even in flat gaming as well, but it's not as much. You don't notice it as much, at least in the really, really good games. And so I'd like to see a game where I went in and I just didn't feel like there was any jank at all. Everything just works perfect, feels good, looks good, lighting's amazing. This is gonna have this is like a Wes special, man. You're scavenging, you're looking around, you got horror, you got shit jumping in your face. Now, one thing I want to question anybody that's played Half-Life, and I don't know if it's only 2, maybe it's in 1 as well, but why the fuck does a doctor have a head crab for a pet? Like, I don't get that. Like, I'm seeing these things jumping in your face, and I don't necessarily think it's a good pet now, and maybe you guys can steer me differently. It does look a lot creepier in this video than it does in the game that I was playing earlier today. So
yeah, this thing looks phenomenal, doesn't it? It looks like a next level VR game, and I probably wouldn't believe it if it weren't for some of the games that we've had out lately. And I want to talk a little bit about that. How good is the timing? How perfect is the timing? Because not only is this bringing all of these eyeballs to VR, but it's doing it at this time where not only is VR now affordable, not only is the technology better than it ever has been before, but the games that are out now are better than they ever have been before. VR has never been at a stronger point, and in my opinion, there couldn't have been a better time for Valve to say, hey, everybody, look at VR.
Yeah, I was thinking about that today earlier. It's like, okay, so somebody said there was a, I think it was Alyx, or somebody said there's a rumor that 50,000 units indexes have sold since this came out. Now, I'm not saying that's true, but okay, let's assume that is true. 50,000 people ordered it and they're on their way, but they got to wait till March. Well, what are they going to play? Now, granted, if they got the index, they might have a little bit of trouble playing some of the Stormland or Asgard's Wrath, they're not going to know about Revive or any of that shit. They're going to have to learn that. But maybe they picked up the Rift S, and they're going to play those. Either way, they've got a lot of amazing games, like you said, that 3-4 months, a year ago even, I would have been like, they're going to come into it. Even if they had this game, the rest of the games, they're going to think it's not worth it. They're going everything that they're saying that I see in forums was true. It was like, okay, there's a lot of games that we maybe overlook the jank because we're, enthusiasts, or we see that it's as good as we think it is, but very shallow in a lot of other ways. Whereas Stormland, Asgard's Wrath are not as shallow. Even Espire 1 is not that shallow comparatively to some games that have came out in the last year or so.
No, you're absolutely right. And we'll talk more about this later, but the bar has definitely raised, and these mid to low tier indie games that were once prevalent, and accepted, not so much going to be the case anymore now, I don't think. This game in particular, though, I mean, you look at these pictures, you look at this looks like AAA flat game kind of stuff, and we know that that's not the case. This is a VR game. They've said it, that this is going to be only in VR, that this game wouldn't even work as a flat game because the gameplay is it's too detailed. There's too much going on. You'd have to map out half a keyboard to play this game on a TV, and they would have to take away, it would detract from the VR version to make this flat. But it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful looking. Are our graphics cards going to be able to play this thing, you think?
I think they will. I mean, what is it? They said that the 1060 was a recommended video card, right? So, I mean...
let's see. They're recommending an i5 7500 and 12 gigabytes of RAM, which is a bit of a step up. Normally, these games call for 8 gigs of RAM. GTX 1060 or an RX 580. That blows my mind. And by the way, they did specify it has to be the 6 gigabyte version of the 1060. You can't get by on the older 3 gigabyte version. But I mean, that in itself blows my mind. I'm sure you'll have to dial it back, and you'll probably have a 3-foot draw distance in front of you. But the fact that they're saying that it'll run on that is a surprise to me. And really, if that's true, it's a testament to the talent of these guys.
Yeah. Well, it's a new source, and who knows, man? Who knows what they're going to be able to do with it? I mean, we always think about what developers can do, like with Red Matter and the Oculus Quest, because they can tweak everything, but imagine doing those same tweaks in this platform in some different form or fashion, to where you're making it look amazing, but you're not making it as strenuous on the video card. I mean, we're going to run into that as well as we go along. But yeah, I think this...
Yeah, well,
go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, I think we're heading down that road as well, so...
Well, the cool thing about Valve is we know this is a legit company. They have hundreds of people that work there. I'm sure they had a big team working on this for years. I think 7 or 8 years they said they were working on this.
I was reading that this is the biggest team they've ever had on a game before. So they've put more people on this game than they've ever put on a game before. So I think people that are underestimating, what this is going to be, like you nailed it. It's like you said, they bring something special to every game that they make, right? Or at least the Half-Life version. It's going to be the VR, but it's not, I'm going to have the same experience. Well, I guess I should say this differently, because I am going to get an index before this comes out, but someone that has a Rift S is going to get the same experience. They're going to have a good experience with this game, but they're starting to leak that there's going to be certain things you can't do. I just think that it's going to be different for the index, different ways of using the controllers. That's going to be the thing. It's kind of like when you did Mario 64, the controller was part of what made Mario 64, right? And I think there was an interview, I could have sworn a year or two ago, and Valve was saying that that's what they were shooting for. They wanted to have a Mario 64 moment or but anyway.
Yeah, I think what you're referring to there, they've said that there will be optional things in the game that you can only do with the index controllers. But it shouldn't break the game or anything. You don't have to do whatever these things are. But yeah, I think you're right. I think that obviously this game is going to look and play better on their hardware. I think that really what we're seeing here is we have the leadership at Valve are VR enthusiasts. They love the platform the way we love the platform, because why else would they be doing this? They're investing by creating something like this and putting all this time and effort and people into it. They're investing in the long-term future of VR. And they're putting all of this money and manpower into building something, like we said, not only will show the world what VR is capable of, and not only show VR gamers what VR is capable of, but show the video game industry, the other big giant behemoth video game development companies out there. Hey guys, if you do decide that you want to do something in VR and really try, look what you can do. And I think that this game is really, that's what the intention is from Valve. I think that that they love VR, and I think that they're doing everything they can to show the world how good VR can be, not 5 years from now, but today, if people are willing to put the time and money into it.
Yeah, and not only that, but they're also showing the world what Valve can do. You know, I mean, obviously, people that love the series of everything that they've put out that has been this good know what they can do, but it's been a long time, so people are starting to forget. This is, you know, they're bringing people back and saying, look, this is what we do, and you know, it's exciting. So I'm kind of psyched to see this game. We don't have that much longer to go, and now like I said, I just let the cat out of the bag for me. This game did solidify my index buying by March. How about you? Are you considering your big purchase that you're going to be doing?
Yeah, I've considered it, and really it wasn't very likely until honestly when Oculus Link was announced, and I started to realize that I could play my Oculus exclusives with my Quest. And I don't know, maybe it'll be good enough for it, and maybe it won't be. I'll have to wait and see on that. But if it turns out that that is an acceptable way to play the Oculus exclusives, then all of a sudden I've got my Rift S that I can turn into a few bills to put toward that Valve Index, and it's a possibility. I need to hear from somebody unbiased. Is the difference worth the money? That's a lot of extra money, $600 more, and it's not just the money either. I would have to go back to external tracking and keeping that whole setup going. And there's a lot of convenience that comes with running the Rift platform. I'm not going to have both. I'm going to have one, or I'm going to have the other. So I don't know yet. As you know, I've already been, on the lookout for a higher end headset. It might be the Valve Index. It might be something else that's out right now. It might be something else that's not out yet. And that's probably what's going to end up happening is it's probably going to be something that's not even out yet.
If something drops soon enough.
Well, I mean, soon enough, there is no soon enough. Anytime soon enough.
Yeah.
I have infinite patience, brother. I'm happy with what I have, which allows me to be patient. So.
See, I wanted to get the Index day one, so I've planned on getting it. It's like, what order do I get it in is what is always on my mind. So, but this just kind of game pushed it up for me. Since I'm already going to get it, why spend $60 on a game I can get for free? And, why not just, that's $60 off that $1,000, man. It's only $940, brah. It's cheap.
That does help a bit. It's not cheap. If they would knock it down, put it on sale for like 8 or 850, that would make it a lot easier, a lot more palatable for me. I was actually probably going to get it if it released for 8, like I thought it was going to, but they went high with it. They highballed it at 1,000. It's a little bit steep.
Oh, if you get the game for free and you sell your Rift for a couple hundred, that's 750 right there.
Yeah,
740.
Yeah, exactly. It was exactly what I was saying. That the Oculus Link makes it a lot more likely now, because if it does turn out to be a good experience, and that's a big if, I get it. You don't have to put it in the comments. I know. If it does turn out to be good enough, and then I've got people like Ruuts telling me that, hey man, it really is a big difference. Not only to have the extra resolution, but a little more field of view, a lot better sound, and once again have reasonable frame rate. 90, 120. It doesn't make a big difference, but all of these little differences add up, I'm sure. Maybe
the same thing. Reasons why you were saying about Valve and the games and everything, them knowing what they do and pushing the envelope, and is the same reason why I do believe it's the best headset on the market. Not only because of a lot of different things, but they've really gone, like you said, the audio, the frame rates. There's just options in there that you don't get from other headsets, and so I think to me, at least for the next couple of years, it'll probably be the best one out there. So why not pick it up now?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't question that it's the best on the market right now. I do question is it 2.5 times the price of my Rift S. I'm not so sure about that.
Yeah, maybe 2 times, maybe not 2.5, but.
So yeah, I think again, getting back to the topic at hand here, I think that this is a labor of love for the top guys at Valve. We've got a quote from Gabe here, and I did take it down. It says, quote, "Everyone at Valve is excited to be returning to the world of Half-Life. VR has energized us." And I think that's a big thing. Goes back to what we were just saying. He says, VR has energized us. We've invested a lot of ourselves in this technology, which is true, not only by making this headset, but making this game. It's a lot of investment, not only monetarily, but with their time. And as you know, Ruuts, time is a very precious thing. We've invested a lot of ourselves in the technology, but we're also game developers at heart. And to be devoting ourselves to a VR game this ambitious is just as exciting. For that to come in the form of Half-Life feels like the culmination of a lot of things that we care about. Truly great games, cutting-edge technology, and open platforms. We can't wait for people to experience this. And I think that that's more telling than anything else he said. We can't wait for people to experience this. They built the hardware. They built the game. They feel like they've put in the time and done something special, and they love it so much that it's not about profit for them. It's not about building the world's largest social platform for them. It's about the love of the technology and sharing it with not only the gamers inside VR, but the gamers outside of VR and the other game developers around the world. And yeah, I have a lot of respect for these guys, even though I'm not one of these fanboys that have lost their crap over the last few days.
Yeah, and I do want to add, suck it, flat gamers. Just I can't not talk about this game without saying, for once you need to cater to us, and
just wait for the port, bro. Just wait for the port.
Just wait for the port. Even though they said it's never coming. And to be honest, I would never want to play a port of this game on flat game, for obvious reasons. That the things that they said are legit. They're making this special. They're taking their hardware they created, and they're making a game around it. I guarantee it's going to be next level. I don't have. There's some people that are worried about teleportation and worried about locomotion and like everything. That there's all sorts of rumors already starting, you know. And I'm just like, you know, it's Valve, dude. Chill. It'll be good. It'll be good, man. So
Valve showed us with their headset when it came out. They showed us that space that Oculus vacated. You know, Oculus used to be the voice of the enthusiast. They used to be the ones driving the high end of VR. When Valve released their headset, they basically told the world that, okay, now we're going to be your representative. For those of you who have the money and love the technology, we're going to show you how good it can be. And I think that this game is going to be more of that. I think that these things that people are concerned about with locomotion and jank, I think that they're not really thinking about who we're talking about here. We're talking about experienced veterans within the industry, people who know VR, people who know what VR enthusiasts like. And for them to put out something like that, I think that we'll get this game a year late before we'll get something that doesn't work right. You know
well,
what
that's
I mean?
Valve's MO, right? I mean, not the delays or whatever, but they take their time, man. Their game, look how long it's taken them. It's taken them 15 years since Half-Life 2 and 12 years since the second episode. They take their time, and this didn't even start out as a Half-Life game. That started them messing around in VR after the lab. People wanted more, and they started getting all really digging it and thinking, wow, this is really cool. What could we do with this? They thought about Portal 2 or a Portal series, and they thought it would make people sick. And then they thought about this, and it just, I guarantee it got, you know, can you imagine making this game if you were a developer? This is your baby, something you've worked on for 20 years, and you're bringing it to VR. I guarantee they were giddy. It was so cool. I just think that we have no idea what's coming. We feel like we do, but I think this is going to be bigger than we even think. This is just my gut instinct. So,
And I think these developers that work at Steam, I think they're the envy of the industry, because the whole industry knows how cool VR is. But all of these developers that make these different, you know, AAA games, they can't make the game they want to make because it isn't profitable. They can't go VR because they can't make money. And the bosses, the people that they work for, won't sign off on it. The people that work at Valve just happen to work for a guy who also loves VR. Somebody who's willing to invest money in a long-term vision. And I think that this goes back to what I was saying earlier. I think that this is going to show a lot of people that there is a future in it, and show the different big game companies that if you decide to put your baby in VR, look at how cool it could be.
yeah. Now, didn't Valve say there was three? They're dropping 3 games. Is that, or am I remembering? So, what do you think the other games will be? Do you think we're gonna, like? There's rumors that maybe a Left 4 Dead. Like, I don't know, man. What do you think?
I'm not the biggest Valve fanboy, so I couldn't really tell you what their other IPs are off the top of my head. I mean, I know, you know, Portal, but they've already said that that they're not going to do Portal, or at least they don't. It would be challenging to do Portal in VR. So I don't know, man. It could be anything. I think at least one of them will be a new IP probably.
Yeah.
But beyond that, I don't know. I don't know what the other one's going to be.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, interesting. Definitely looking forward to it. Half-Life, Valve in general, and Half-Life, known for compelling story, known for compelling puzzles, compelling action, gameplay, and innovative in-game physics. And Half-Life isn't the only title that we've known about coming on the way that has these innovative new physics unlike anything we've seen in VR before. In fact, we're about to get one here in about a week and a half in Boneworks. And Boneworks is odd. You know, they haven't been exactly shy about giving us footage of this game and telling us what it's going to be for many months now. They've been very transparent through the Node YouTube channel and letting us know and letting us see their game. And everybody was super hyped and excited about this game for the longest time. And then after the last 2 months that we've had with all of these high quality AAA games that we've been experiencing, I felt like the excitement level for Boneworks had dropped a little bit. But then just this morning, Node released a new video and they showed us a little bit more of Boneworks. And Ruuts, I got to admit, I was one of the people who had lost a little bit of faith in this one. I'm starting to get it back a little bit. I'm starting to see why this game may be a load of fun, even in today's age of high quality games. What about you? Did you see this new game footage? And if so, what did you think about it?
Yeah. I don't know, man. I was like you. Same thing when Asgard's Wrath came out. Stormland was coming, and I thought, I'm not that psyched for Stormland because Asgard's Wrath is so good. And then Stormland dropped, and I was like, oh my God, this feels so good. It's amazing. And I was just telling you before the show that that's, Stormland looks amazing, but it's the way it feels that is so amazing about it. And I believe that this game is going to be the same way. And maybe it's just the fact that nothing clips through anything, and it just feels that much more immersive. I don't know how this is going to feel, but I didn't think it was going to be as good as the footage is showing, and I am psyched about it. And of course we're closer than we were. This is like so close that I want to play it now. No,
we're not going to have to wait too long. December 10th, the release date for Boneworks. We always knew the physics was going to be revolutionary in this thing. No one ever doubted that for a minute. But when you start thinking about a game that does one thing really well, there's a name for that. It's called a tech demo. A game that has that's completely one-dimensional, but has one thing that it's really awesome at. Those are called tech demos. And people were afraid that this was going to be a tech demo. But in this specific footage, we get to see them leave, first of all, this building that they're in, which I was worried the whole thing was going to take place in this one space and that the environments are going to be completely repetitive and boring. But we get to see them go outside here. We get to see new enemies. We get to see the tower off in the distance where apparently your campaign mission is going to end up. We see new weapons. We hear them allude to the story and to puzzles. So I think there's going to be a lot more going on here than we had originally thought. And like you, I'm really starting to get excited to try it out.
One of the things that I like about this, and I also like about the Half-Life, it's starting to become more of a staple in VR, is you pulling stuff from magnetically, or however they explain it in the game. Like, I don't want to have to crouch and try to grab shit off the ground in VR anymore. Like, it's just too much of a pain in the ass. And that's one of the things that I was seeing in one of the reaction videos of Half-Life, is somebody was commenting about that, and I noticed that on this as well, is being able to pull it up without having to get down on the ground. I like that, and hopefully more games pick that up.
Yeah, the Thief Simulator guy, he called that magnet hands.
Yeah, I like some magnet hands. Everybody needs. I wish I had that in real life. Wouldn't that be cool? Of course, I think
that would be awesome.
And we're one step closer to Wally at that point, but so I don't know.
Anyway, for those of you who don't know, in Boneworks, you find yourself plunging into the mysterious Myth operating system. So it's like a computer program, kind of like Killing Floor Incursion. What's going on isn't really going on. It's all computer generated. Your consciousness is inside the computer program. It says it's an advanced AI system created by Monogon industries. We learned from this new video on Node today that the lowest level enemies are called the nobodies. Simple enough, right? And those guys are even the targets of the upper tiers of the enemy food chain. So you see these other nobodies who come in who have better weapons and stuff, and they won't just attack you, but they'll attack the lower level nobodies as well. And I thought that was kind of funny and pretty cool. Ruuts.
Yeah, me too.
Did you notice that?
No, I didn't. I didn't notice. I was just watching him try to shove that body in that locker, and that was pretty fucking cool too, man. This is actually looking really badass. Now, there's no multiplayer in this, right? No co-op.
It's on their radar. They said it isn't in the game as it stands today, but it wasn't a hard no from these guys. They're aware that people may enjoy something like that, so they didn't close the door on it. They may be adding something like that into the game at a later date.
Yeah, I'm looking at it, and when he was up there looking down, I was just thinking, man, this would be so cool if you were with somebody jumping off that and shooting. And I don't know, man. I'm really good. I'm really big on the physics. Like I didn't really care too much about sword and sorcery because it was just not a big melee person anyway in every game I've ever played. But that really did feel like the ultimate of ultimate tech demos, and this does not, at least from what I'm seeing. And I love shooting guns. The AI looks really intelligent as well. The way it's ducking back and forth. That was one of the things that really impressed me about games like Destiny and Destiny 2 and stuff. It was like, always the AI is always getting smarter and coming at you from different directions. So hopefully this is as good as it looks. So.
Yeah, and as far as the multiplayer thing goes, we do know that they have confirmed a second Boneworks title that's going to be releasing exclusively for the Oculus Quest. So who knows, maybe that one will end up being a multiplayer title.
Wow, so it's going to be like their own version of it, huh?
Yeah, it's a title, quote, in the Boneworks universe. So it's going to be a Boneworks title on Quest, and that's really all we know about it.
Oh, cool. That's kind of good. At least they're giving them an exclusive, right? So
yeah, I think it's cool. I'm curious as to whether or not it will truly be a Quest exclusive. Quest exclusives turn out to be Rift ports.
Well, not only that, but now that they've got the Oculus Link, it's bullshit. I don't. They can play everything.
Go both ways,
yeah,
right?
They can play everything I can play. Like the only thing keeping me from playing that Quest game is not having access to the store. Like I guarantee, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how different it is, but it's not fair.
Well, when you start thinking about that, just remember this: that I don't think that the Link works with Viveport. So even though they get to play the Boneworks, you get to play Tornuffalo.
Yeah.
You get to play Taco Face, Space Cats with lasers, all this awesome stuff.
Oh, we found out Space Cat with lasers is on Steam, and I picked it up. So expect to hear some more talk about that in the future on the channel. I don't know if it'll be its own segment, but it'll definitely be interesting. So
for those of you going, what the hell are these guys talking about? You have got to watch the Monday Show 14, where we dig deep into the dark recesses of Viveport and pull out some of the top titles that you can get for the HTC Vive. It really is a must watch, an eye opener, to say the least.
Yeah, but look at this group. I mean, I think this is going to look really good, and I think the gameplay is what it's going to be. What you're going to walk away with. You're going to, just like with Stormland, you were saying, that you're having flying dreams and all sorts of weird shit, like that game feels so good. I guarantee, a month from now, you're going to be having Bonework dreams of shooting shit, so.
Yeah. I hope so, man. Really there's not, there's only a few questions regarding it. Obviously length being one of them. I think that we pretty much have determined that the gameplay is going to be satisfying and fulfilling. The story hopefully is good. The length hopefully it's not too short. It's a $30 game, so I imagine it's a pretty good sized game. Actually, I guess this would be a good time to point out that our good friend Alyx, that used to be one of the hosts here on Virtual Strangers, just did a pros and cons video about Boneworks. His channel's linked in the description down there. You should definitely check it out because it was a really good video that detailed not only the strengths of the video, but the very few things there are to worry about. And my main concern for me personally is that I pay $30 for this thing and it's done in 2 hours. You think that's a legit concern, Ruuts?
Yeah, but you know what's funny is I've before you even said that, like, 'cause that's the first time I've heard that concern, which is not that it hasn't been out there. It's just the first time I've heard someone verbalize it. I've heard more people are afraid that it's too cheap. That
Yeah, I heard that today too.
and I did a double take, and I felt like I was back to Defector, and it's just funny how and I'm not knocking that thought process because people are gonna have it. It's just funny because there's so many different perspectives, and you on one side you got people saying, "Man, this thing better be good. It's too expensive," and then you got somebody else that are looking at it from a completely different angle, and they're saying, "No, man, this is too fucking cheap. I want it to be more expensive because that means it's going to be better." Which
It just goes to show that the times are changing, man. The times, they are changing, because just a year ago, $20 was the standard.
Right.
If it was $20, then it was borderline too expensive. And then we went from $20 being too expensive to being too cheap, and $30 was too expensive. And now $30, since we've got two great games now, two games, mind you, just two $40 games that were so awesome. Now anything less than $40 might suck.
yeah, but see, 30 is so close to 40 that
Pistol Whip was 25, bro.
yeah, but what I'm saying is it better be good for 30 in my mind, because 40
Yeah, me too.
is fucking phenomenal. Even though we've had the discussion that they're only 40 because they're subsidized. They should be 60, really, in my opinion. And I'm not advocating for them to put it out at 60. But they're just for what they invested in. I guarantee $40 is not cutting it. We're just blessed to have a cheaper game. Valve's $60 is more accurate, and I am glad that they're coming out with that price point. But I'll take 30 all day. So
Yeah, for sure. We said it before, we used to say it all the time that these days of cheap games are going to go away. We should enjoy it now while we can. And I think we're in the twilight of it. We're at the end of the days of cheap games. We're getting ready to join the ranks of the flatties, where we're going to have to pay if we want to really play the type of games that we want, which is fine. I'd rather buy 1 or 2 games a month that are just completely awesome than go back to the way it was, buying 10 games a month that were okay.
right, and most of these games that we've been playing are on such a different level that, there's a lot of truth to what people have said, that a lot of the flat gaming community that's freaking out about Half-Life, there's a lot of truth to it. Like most of the VR games in the last few years have been shallow to some extent, especially coming from a AAA game. Like you go into VR for a year and you start delving into all VR, you get used to it. You're not looking at all the AAA shit. You're not coming, it's just a different level. And but now we're getting there, so it's gonna be hard. So the transition is actually going to be harder than we think, in some respects. But
Well, all I gotta say is, if people are really worried about this game not being good because it's just $30, then you know what? Don't buy it. Go drop the 40 down, pick up Dement, and play it to your heart's content, because there's a $40 game that has loads of gameplay, many hours, and tell me how you like it, and I'll be in Boneworks, and I'll tell you how I like it.
you'd be shoving bodies in lockers and shit. See,
Yeah, that was surprisingly realistic. Like when I tried to shove that body in the locker that time, it was just like that.
the arm kept falling out. Oh shit, we shouldn't be talking about this on the air.
Like they don't even show you on there, like how the blood, like how hard it is to keep it from like running out of the bottom.
Oh God.
It's tough, man. You got to put towels in there before you even start to shove the
The
body
Breaking
in.
Bad bathtub is a lot better as long as you got the right one. There's no evidence, so.
Right. All right. So let's move on here out of the realm of games that are coming to into the realm of the games that have come. And I'm, of course, talking about Espire 1 VR Operative. Ruuts from Digital Load this past week, 11/22/19 for $30. We finally got it. We finally got Espire 1. We first learned about this game back at E3, and really this was the best of show. This is the one everybody came out talking about. This, of course, is a stealth action game, something along the in the spirit of like Metal Gear Solid. This is a game everybody's been looking forward to for quite some time. It was originally due to come out in August. They pushed it back to September. It didn't come in September, and they just pushed it back indefinitely. And then finally, this past week, we got Espire 1. So, Ruuts, you played it. I played it just a little bit, just the first couple of missions until you get to the challenge break. Took me about 2 hours. I thought it was an okay game. What did you think?
Yeah, it was pretty good actually. I liked a lot about it. But like you were saying, I feel like the delay that they did kind of screwed them a little bit because like a lot of the movement, the climbing and stuff felt good, but it didn't feel as good as Stormland. Which, you know, I mean, it's its own game, so it really doesn't need to live up to Stormland. But because I just been playing that so much, it didn't feel as good as it would have a month ago. But it was really good. You know, what's weird is we were just both kind of talking about it. And, like, I didn't stealth very much in this game. As soon as I got a machine gun, man, I double machine gunned and I ran around and I was looking for people to blow them, to shoot them. I was having a lot of fun, but it didn't seem like there was much of a consequence to that. Was there, or am I missing something?
No, you're absolutely right. I kept waiting on this game. And again, I should reiterate, these are first impressions. Ruuts and I just played the first couple of missions. Things could change as you get deeper into the game. But through the missions that I played, I kept waiting for the game to force me to play it like a stealth game. Because I'm not a biggest stealth fan anyway. I'm not... I wasn't in the Metal Gear or anything like that. The stealth games that I've played in VR have kind of gotten on my nerves because I've just wanted to run through them and be offensive. And that's what I did in this game. I ran through it, took an offensive posture. I did sneak a little bit, but it was just to sneak up on guys and kill them. And even the ones that I tranquilized and knocked out, they still got one in the back of the head because, you know, you're not going to invade my facility. You're a bad guy. You deserve to die. So I literally killed everyone I came across, even if I didn't have to. And I thought that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, I think this game, just being more offensive, more aggressive, is what the fun, for me, what was fun about it. You know, the couple of things that did bother me, though, is like, as you're running around and doing that, there's a lot of repetitiveness as far as what they're telling you. Like, when you get hit, the same thing every single time is the same guy tells you, hey, you better bring out your whatever the tool is to heal yourself. So if you're getting hit and then healing yourself and hit and healing yourself, he keeps saying it. It's like, okay, dude, I know that I need to heal myself. I'm already healing as you're telling me. Shut the fuck up, you know? So that bothered me a little bit. And but yeah, no, I mean, it's other than that, I can't think of too many things that bother me. It looked really good. Gunplay was good. I was just telling you, I didn't even realize you could reload. I was throwing guns away and grabbing new ones. I just watched somebody reload on their belt. I mean, I should know because I kept grabbing the fucking clips by accident. That was another thing that bothered me was no matter how I tried to adjust that belt, and this is in VR in general, man. I'm grabbing the wrong fucking thing. I'm grabbing my gun. I'm grabbing the wall by accident instead of my gun. I'm grabbing the clips, having to throw it down and pick them back up so I don't lose the ammo that I'm not reloading anyway. I don't know why I was worried about it. I never reloaded. You could have just thrown it away, Ruuts. So that bothered me, and maybe I just needed to adjust that belt a little bit better. I don't know. Did you have problems with that, or is it just me?
I did. I grabbed the clip instead of I'm sorry. I would go to grab a clip, but I would grab that healing, thing instead, where you repair yourself. I did that a lot. All in all, though, I thought the mechanics of the thing played pretty well. I did think that the gameplay in general was a little bit repetitive, so I'm hopeful that the story turns out to be good enough to compel me forward into the game. Things I didn't really care for is the structure in general of the game. It seems to be one of these challenge-based things where they're like, okay, play the level again now, but try not to kill anyone. Play the level again, try to do it this way, try to do it that way. At the end of each level, they give you an expenditure report, how much it costs for your operation. And I take it that you're supposed to try to get away without costing as much money as you can. That's not how I want to play this game. I want to play through this as an action adventure. I don't want to try to score high scores and complete challenges. So hopefully the story will be compelling enough. The story campaign will be long enough to keep me engaged, because they did a lot right here. And once again, I'm okay with playing stealth game, but the game has to make me play that way. I'm not going to be stealthy if I can just kill everybody that I come across. They need to make me die a few times. So I think, okay, now I got to be careful. Now I can't let these guys see me. That's the way any stealth game should be. If you have to be stealthy, you should have to be stealthy. And in this game, at least so far in the early stages, you don't have to at all. You can just walk out with your pants down and say, "Suck it, bad guys. What are you going to do about it?"
Did you die at all? Ever?
Maybe once. I think early on I might have got killed.
Yeah, see, I didn't die once, and I literally, I would have my gun in one hand and my healing thing in the other, and it's weird, like, because it would say, okay, your whatever got hit, you're malfunctioning, you need to, repair it, and it's got this little orb in front of you, not on your body, but anyway, so I'm healing those things as I'm shooting. And I'm as soon as I'm healing, another one would pop up, and then I just heal it again, and I, you know what I mean? It was too easy. But I do like this thing where you throw that healing thing on the ground, and it'll show you where you need to go, like it leads you. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I did that once. I didn't know how I did it. I didn't know about it until I did it. No.
Yeah. It's, I because if you don't know about that, I don't know how the fuck you would know where to go. Like, I was wandering around thinking, where do I go? And then once I figured that out, I was like, oh shit, this is cool, man. So I'm constantly throwing it around.
I basically just walked around until I started seeing bad guys. And when I saw more bad guys to kill, I knew I was going the right way. I'm like Pac-Man, dude. Give me some dots to eat and I'll know where to go. And that's basically how I played that. Bruce, they say that it's about a 5-hour campaign, which is concerning to me, because I played through what I felt like was the beginning of the game, but it took me about 2 hours to get through it, almost 2 hours, which a lot of that I'm sure was, playing with settings and things like that. How long did it take you? We went exactly the same distance. How long do you think it took you to get there?
That's a good question. Let me check, because I have no idea. I feel like it was about the same, but I mean, it could have been, more, or actually probably was less, because I was kind of running through, pretty quick, or not quick, but I wasn't. As soon as I figured out how I could throw that thing down, I was just running through.
Yeah, I probably would have got through a little quicker if I had that.
It says 76 minutes, hour and 15 minutes.
So
So
yeah, I played it quite a bit longer than you did. Uh, another thing about this game that people were saying, apparently having a very difficult time getting this thing to run on PlayStation VR, which I find shocking. It kind of explains the delays to me a little bit. Now I kind of get it. Uh, but then again, looking at this game, it looks good, but there's nothing special going on here. The environments are fairly bland and repetitive. The textures aren't very detailed. I would think something like this would port pretty well to PlayStation. Does it surprise you that the PS4 having trouble running this thing?
yeah, I don't know. I mean, it could have been the vanilla that was having. I guess it would have been the vanilla. I don't know. I don't know what the issues would be. I mean, it looked good. I had it super sample. I thought it looked really good, but it definitely was not like phenomenal good. So yeah, I don't see why it wouldn't translate pretty easily. I think it's on the Quest pretty good, right? It's on the Quest as well. No one's.
Yeah, it's on the Quest. I haven't heard anything about the Quest version, to be honest, good or bad. So I guess that's kind of a good sign. But yeah, you're right. This game does look good. It looks very good, actually. But I think it's mostly lighting. It's the lighting effects is what makes this game look so good. It isn't anything to do with really the detail.
What did you think of the comfort modes? Did you? I know you turned it off, but did you try it? Because I tried it and I was like, oh my god, how could anybody play this way? It's like the worst.
Well, it defaulted into it, and it took me all of 5 seconds. And I was like, nope, stop. Where's the menu? No, we're not doing that.
I was like, what is going on? Like, because it's just so bizarre, like gritty. And I was like, what is happening? Yeah, it was definitely a no go for me as well. So,
yeah. I mean, I'm glad the options are there, but I don't know why these guys continue to insist on making that stuff the default. You know?
Well, think about this. It's probably good. Because if you had somebody this was like, I don't know how this would end up happening, but you just got VR and this is your first game and you default into it as nothing, no comfort mode, and it makes you sick and you're done with VR. Whereas you or I, if we go in and it's fucked up like that comfort mode, we're changing that shit instantly. Like it's gonna cause us to change it. So it's probably better. Right. I mean, it's annoying for us, but for new people, it's actually pretty good.
Sure. I thought this was cool, the save points where you have to activate the new units, because it's not just that you're getting new units to start from if you get killed, but generally when you switch to a newer unit, you get new abilities as well, which I thought was pretty awesome.
Yeah, and not only that, but like what was cool is like I went to the new unit, and then as I was running around, I came back into the room that I had turned it on, and you see your old unit still hunched over the thing because you translated to the new one. And so that was kind of cool. And yeah, so I guess we're kind of, because we're so early on in the game, and like you said, this is our first impressions. Who knows what abilities we have, and who knows what abilities the enemy will get. I did notice that, I don't know if you noticed, the some of the gunmen's were harder to kill, and they had more advanced weaponry. So
I came across one guy I could not kill. Like I literally unloaded 2 clips into this dude's face. All he had on was a ski mask, and it was like I didn't even do anything to him.
Wow, I never came in, not had people hanging there. I never came to anybody like that, but these people were actually had armor and shit on, and they had like a different type of machine gun. So it took several shots to kill them versus some of these easier guys. So I think maybe it will get harder. It'll be interesting to hear from some people that play through the whole game or a little bit further than we did, to see.
Well, I'm going to go back into it because I did enjoy it. I just quit playing because I had a couple hours in it, and before you can start the 3rd mission, they make you do these skill challenges, basically to teach you how to play stealthy, to teach you how to play the game the way they want you to play it. And it won't let you go on until you complete those challenges. So I just said, you know what? I think I'm just going to go to bed.
Yeah. I had the same reaction, except for I thought, you know what? I'm going to go film the show. Because I played it before this. But no, I didn't want to. I didn't want to do a bunch of missions, man. I thought, as soon as I saw that I had to do that, or not missions, but challenges, I thought, I'm done. But I will go back in just because I want to see what more abilities I get in my new suits, my new robots.
You know what I want? I want a level 5 clearance card so I can get in some of these damn doors.
Yeah, they're all locked, right?
Like all of them.
Yeah, it's very linear. That's one thing too that I'm starting to feel a little bit more after Stormland and even Asgard's Wrath is like the linear games. You feel it a little bit more, I guess.
Yeah, that don't bother me so much. Games like this one especially remind me of old PS1 era games that I used to play. I really wasn't into the stealth, but I did play a lot of games that were like this linear, infiltrate the base, kill the bad guys. There's generally some kind of nefarious science fiction underplot going on. They have some kind of secret alien weapon underground or something. So I have a little nostalgia playing a game like this. But again, I'm hoping that that as we go on, the story can live up to that.
Let me ask you this about how it keeps announcing over the loudspeaker, you're they're looking for you or whatever, and she'll come back and she'll say you need to be more stealthy, and then okay, they're not looking for you anymore, and it's like instantly somebody sees you again, you're right back to that status, and it's just going back and forth, back and forth. It's almost pointless. It's almost like she keeps telling me, and I'm thinking, why the fuck are you telling me? It doesn't matter. It just didn't, I don't know. It just seemed, it was then more annoying to me than anything. I don't know if that was the case for you as well.
I found it comical. I found it comical that you can literally kill these guys over and over and over again, and they'll stop looking for you in 5 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like
tops.
Oh yeah.
Tops 5 minutes.
Yeah. It's just weird, but I mean, it's just weird. I almost wish maybe you can just turn her off, stop talking to me, stop telling me this stuff. So
yeah, leave me alone and let me kill these guys. I'm obviously superior to them.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. Anyway, that may have came off a little bit negative, but it was a good game. I enjoyed it. I do 100% agree with what you said. This game, if it had came out when it was originally supposed to come out, people would be going nuts for it right now because it would have been so great compared to everything else that was out at that time. But coming out now off the heels of Asgard's Wrath, Pistol Whip, and then Stormland, it's just good. It's just another good game. $30, as long as the campaign's long enough, yeah, I don't have any problem with that. I can see this turning out to be a $30 game.
Yeah, and if you figure my time's probably more accurate, a little bit closer, just because you take more time and you're checking every corner of everything, and I kind of went through fairly quickly. I didn't blow through it, but I went through at a decent clip. It's probably 4 more hours to go. So,
yeah. Yeah, I'm going back in. I had fun with it. I'll definitely be going back into it, and that's really the only thing that matters, right? Will you play it again? I think I will.
Yeah. Did you go down that little those little things where you can grab on and you hit the button, and it's like it just takes you down halfway across the room, and you're like, what was that? It'd be like having a thing in the corner of my bedroom that slings me to the other side of the room, and you get there and you're like, why did I do that? There's no distance there. That's weird. I don't know.
Yeah, I did it one time, and I was kind of wondered, like, okay, obviously they put this thing here. They have some vision in their mind of how I'm going to use this, and that's going to be really cool. But I don't see it. I don't know what I'm supposed to do here. Why did I just do that?
Yeah, it was weird.
So after that, I just kind of ignored those things.
Yeah.
All right. So that's our first impressions on Espire 1. If you've tried it out, be sure to let us know what you think in the comments down below. And for those of you who want to talk a little bit more in depth with it about us, we're about the game with us. we're on our Discord channel all day, every day, talking VR, talking about the games that are out, talking about the games that are coming out. It's linked down in the description below. There's an invite link. You're all invited. Come join the party on Discord. All right, so moving on. A game that we've been looking forward to pretty much since the minute that we found out that it was coming to VR, The Walking Dead Onslaught. Slated for a fall 2019 release, or so we thought, because this past week, the developers there at Survios released a statement, and I quote, "To our dedicated survivors, we have always strived to deliver high-quality, fun games that push the boundaries of VR. To that end, The Walking Dead Onslaught will now release in 2020 as we continue to build nothing short of an exceptional experience for our players." So, thank you for all of your support and patience. We'll have more news to come soon. All right, Ruuts. So, people played this game at pretty much all the game shows all summer long. Everybody said that it was in good shape. I think that what we're seeing here is the effect that the awesomeness that apparently is The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners has had on the genre, the zombie survival genre. I think that game looks so great that Servio said, you know what, we better make this thing absolutely as good as we can. What do you think?
Yeah, like, I mean, of course this is pre-alpha footage, but I'm watching this footage versus the pre-alpha footage of the Saints and Sinners, and it just looks more polished. It looks more closer to a AAA game. And I'm sure this game is going to be amazing, but after I saw Saints and Sinners, this one didn't look as amazing to me, or didn't. I wasn't as excited. I'm sure it'll be amazing. You got two different types of games. That's a survival game, but I think it was smart of them. If they feel like it's, it's not like you're releasing two zombie games. You know what I mean? You're releasing two Walking Dead. They're the same fucking genre. The same series. You can't compare apples to oranges. It's apples to apples. You know what I mean? So there's going to be a big comparison to it. And if you were comparing this to say Arizona Sunshine, or even if you had a completely different IP that was another zombie game you were comparing it to, that's totally different than comparing it to Saints and Sinners. And so and then you have the Asgard and Stormland effect, two AAA games that are making everything else look shittier, and just everything coming together makes sense to why they're postponing this.
Yeah, I can see why they would want to make sure that they give AMC, who funded this game, the best game that they possibly could. I don't know. I don't know if this is the right call. Obviously, it was far along. It was finished enough for them to think they were going to be able to release it. But I don't know what they can do. Like you said, this is a different style of game. This is an arcade style action game, and the other is like an open world adventure game, RPG. They're completely different styles of games. I don't know what they're going to be able to do to this game to put it on that level. But what they're doing here by waiting, Saints and Sinners comes out in January, not long from now. I think that this game might have been better received if it had come out before people play that game and know what an awesome zombie game is. I think this could have a couple of months on top. It might be something like we just were talking about with Espire 1, where it might have been better just to keep the original date, and then if you want to patch it and improve it as you go, But then again, who am I to armchair quarterback? Do you think that's a legit concern that if we let Saints and Sinners come out first, people are going to look at this like, I don't know.
There's so many concerns all over the place, and that's one of them. Yeah, it's like, you want to get yours out there. Maybe they get it out there. They said 2020. Maybe it comes out the first week of January. They still get it out early first. I mean, it all depends on what they're adding or changing. Maybe they're polishing it. Maybe they're making the zombies look better or react better. The gameplay feel better. Maybe they're adding more of a story, or some kind of a story. I mean, there's got to be some reason that they're wanting to delay. Like you said, it doesn't make sense to let Saints and Sinners come out first. Especially if you could have had a few months on them to to not only have it out, but like you said, be working on it, patching or whatever. But and who knows, maybe AMC demanded they delay it. Say, look, you guys need to put a little more polish on it. I mean, there's so many possibilities. I mean, I have a lot of faith in Survios as a developer, and I think they'll in the end they'll put out a quality game. And really, that's all that matters, I guess, right?
Yeah, that's true. We all know Survios is they're the premier. They're the number one in VR right now as far as VR game development studios. And yeah, I have faith they're going to put a great game out. I was going to get them both anyway. So in the long run, it's better for me. I'm going to get a better game out of the deal. So, that's awesome. Also, this game isn't just coming to home VR platforms. This game is being developed literally for location based as well. So they may have needed more time to get it ready from that perspective. All in all, though, I'm glad that we're getting both kinds of games. I think this is going to be a lot of fun. I think that Saints and Sinners is going to be your meat and potatoes game, where Onslaught's going to be your palate cleanser. And I feel like I'll probably play them both at the same, during the same play sessions.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Yeah.
All right. So we've got Saints and Sinners coming in January 2020. We've got Onslaught coming sometime thereafter. What a gift for Contagion, and what a gift for Arizona Sunshine. I mean, this game has 9 lives, Ruuts. We keep writing it off, saying it's done. There's no way that they're going to sell any more of these copies. They're going to just give them away now. And just when you think it's over with, we've got Survios pushing it back till next year. We've got Saints and Sinners coming out next year. And now here we have Arizona Sunshine launching again into yet another platform, this time on Oculus Quest. We've known it's coming for a while. We didn't know when. Now we do, just a week or a little over a week from now on December 5th. Ruuts, how do you think this thing's going to port to the Quest?
I think it looks pretty good. I think it'll do well. I mean, it's not graphically too intensive. I mean, they'll have to scale some of the sets back, but it's all about the feel, and I think this is going to be a really big seller for Quest. I've said this in the previous weeks. They've got a limited pool of games, and I don't know how many zombie games they have. Definitely not too many on this level. I know Contagion just came out, right? Or no, that was PlayStation, right? So they don't have too many zombie games. So I think it'll do well.
I hope so. I think that a game like this is made for the Quest, because the things I like about Arizona Sunshine in 2019 are the co-op play and the demo ability for the newbie. This is a great game that you can go in with a friend and teach them how to play 6DoF VR from an FPS perspective. The gameplay is so slow and plodding, and it's satisfying enough. The campaign is just substantive enough to make you want to keep going through it. It's a great game for that. And as we know, that's what the Quest is for. It's for new people. It's for people to get together in a social way and play together. So I think Arizona Sunshine is a good fit from that perspective. Now, that said, I am concerned. I'm concerned. First of all, this trailer you're showing is the announced trailer from back in June, and that footage there, I'm not so sure that's Quest footage. And with that said, we haven't had any Quest footage, Ruuts. I looked, it's not there. Am I crazy here, or should we be concerned?
I don't know. Have you played that? You've played the PlayStation VR version, right? My thinking is if it plays on PlayStation, they should be able to get it to run even better on the Quest. I haven't.
First of all, OG PlayStation way more powerful than the Quest. Second of all, this game looks rough on the PlayStation. I mean, it's pretty, especially the OG. It's pretty bad. So yeah, just the lack of footage by itself, a little bit of a red flag. But then when you pair that with the 10% off pre-order discount, which is not something that you see from Oculus Quest very often, certainly something that you don't see from Arizona Sunshine. They're known for overpricing their stuff. But when you see pre-order discount and no footage, I don't know, man. These are some red flags if you ask me.
Yeah, at least you can return it if you don't like it. Now, let's address your elephant in the room. Are you picking this up for your Quest so you can demo? It's only a cheap, what does it cost? $30?
It's 40.
Oh, 40. Holy shit.
Now, wait. I'm not sure that it will be 40 on Quest, but I do know that on every other platform that it's 40. I guess I did. Did I write the price down? I thought maybe I did.
Well,
maybe I did.
Let me ask you this, because if you did write it down, now, do you think that it is worth, it's equal to Stormland, right? Like Asgard's Wrath and Arizona Sunshine are same category, right? I don't see a price on there.
It's worth a 20 spot. It's been worth a 20 spot on PlayStation. It's worth a 20 spot on PC. It's worth a 20 spot on Quest. Would I buy it again? I got it on PlayStation. I've got it on Steam. I've got it on Viport. I don't have it on Rift, but even if I did, I don't think it supports cross-buy. I'd have to have some friends with Quest, and I don't know if I don't even know if it supports multi-platform co-op. I know that you can't play, like a PlayStation player can't play with a PC player. So I'm not sure if a Quest player can play with a Rift player. I'm not sure if a Rift player can play with the Steam VR player. I don't know.
Yeah, weird. So $20 you probably drop easily, right?
If I had friends with Quest that were new to VR, I would probably buy it just so I could play with them. But no, I'm not going to be looking to pick this up just so I can have it on my Quest. If I won't go drop the extra money for Super Hot, I'm sure not going to drop it for this.
Yeah, Super Hot actually would be good.
No way in hell am I pre-ordering this. No way.
Come on, man.
Keep your 10%, bro.
10%, dude.
I'll wait.
$4, dude. You don't want $4?
It probably is 30. To be fair, it seems like I did read that it was 30, but I didn't write it down. I don't remember that, but I do know it's 40 on everything.
27 for this game is still too much. I agree with you. You nailed it. It's in 2019, the end of 2019, on the cusp of Walking Dead, just after Contagion VR. This is worth $19.95 all day, and it would sell really well if it went for that. I guarantee it sits in the store and people look at it and think, "Oh, fuck, I ain't paying that."
For that matter, we're going to have copies of this on Steam to give away during our big year-end show when we talk about the games of 2019. We're going to be giving away all sorts of game keys, and we've got a few of this one for Steam as well. So if that's something that you don't have yet, maybe hold off. Maybe you could have it courtesy of the Virtual Stranger.
Yeah, that's right. We got all sorts of keys coming in. So
more on that later. More on that in the days and weeks to come. So yeah, Ruuts. Again, I think that this game. I don't think there's a more perfect platform for it right now during this time than the Oculus Quest. That said, I'm skeptical by the lack of footage. I'm skeptical by the delays. We were supposed to already had this thing, and I'm skeptical by the pre-order discount. Time will tell. We don't have that long to wait. December 2nd on the Oculus Quest store. Not the only thing coming to the Oculus Quest store. This one surprised me, Ruuts, and I think that this is pretty exciting. I'm looking forward to this one legitimately. I'm talking, of course, about Radial G Proteus. So yeah, Radial G, a title that is not a stranger to anyone who's been in VR for longer than 5 minutes. This is one of the original futuristic racing games in VR. One of the games in Technolust that you see advertised all over the place. It's a Wipeout style racer that instead of racing on a track, you're racing on a tube. So it's zero gravity. You can your ship is attached to the tube. You can you can move all around the surface of the tube, so you can be upside down or every which way on it. A pretty solid game for its time. It came out way back when in the dawn of VR, not only for the major VR systems, but for Gear. There was a Gear VR version for it as well. And now a brand new Radial G game. Important to note, this is not a port. This is a brand new Radial G game coming to Oculus Quest. And this one looks even cooler than the others because the big complaint with the others was lack of diversity in the tracks and the environments and the overall dullness to the worlds. And they've dealt with that in a very interesting way here by adopting a brand new cel-shaded style of art, which I think is going to translate to Oculus Quest very well and give this game a very much needed visual upgrade. Ruuts, I've never actually played Radial G, the original. It's something that's always been on my radar. I always thought it looked really cool, and it was on my wish list. But then I got Wipeout, and I didn't need it anymore, so I just kind of forgot about it and went on. Have you ever played Radial G? And if not, what do you think about this? You think it looks pretty cool?
Yeah, it looks pretty interesting. I'm one of the people that apparently haven't been in VR for more than 5 minutes because I never even heard of this game. But I guess maybe it was out like in the early days and before I got into VR, and it just was not one of the things that Anthony was raving about, so I just didn't pick it up. It looks pretty interesting. It's kind of like, sounds like Polybius is a lot as far as like, because that's what Polybius is you're on that surface and you're going around the edges, right? And you can go upside down and you're on that thing and you're not moving. This actually sounds pretty cool. Now, is this multiplayer, or do you know, or is it
I would think so. This is a racer in the vein of Wipeout. Now there are those similarities with Polybius, whereas Polybius does have some of these tracks where you're on a tube, and it's super fast. Radial G is super fast. So is Polybius. But beyond that, if I had to compare this to a game, I'd compare it to Wipeout, and I could only imagine. Why would you have a racing game and it not be multiplayer? Obviously, this would have to be multiplayer.
Yeah, you would think, right?
but I don't know. I don't know for sure.
Yeah. So is that? I also wonder, is it third person, first person? I'm assuming first person as well, but everything we're seeing so far is third person. But I don't know. I've never, I mean, anybody that's played this game outside of Quest is probably screaming at the TV, and they know exactly what this game is. It does look pretty cool, and we do need a good racer for the Quest. There's not too many racing games out. I know they're going to get Dash Dash Run pretty soon here. That'll probably be the biggest one that comes out. But until then, this will be great, So
Yeah, what do you think about that cell shaded look to it too? I thought that looked particularly awesome.
yeah, I think that this could really pop in the Quest, right? Because it doesn't look like it's going to be graphically intensive, but it's going to the art style is so cool looking and different that it'll be appealing as well. So
Yeah, makes me kind of hunger for some battle element to it. I don't know. I've never played it, so I don't know if you can attack the other ships like you can in Wipeout, or if this is just a straight racer. But either way, I'm looking forward to trying this one out. Not going to have to wait very long, Ruuts. They snuck it up on us. Christmas, it says, 2019. Now that is a shock, right?
yeah, yeah. So you're gonna pick this up day one?
Well, they have not announced the price tag on it, but the other game was priced fairly. If this one is as well, very likely. I think this game looks super cool, and actually, I'm hoping. We say we want these Quest exclusives. I'd like to see this one on Rift.
It would be nice to. I might actually check out. Now, is the original on Rift as well, or is it no? What platform? Okay, so maybe we'll just have to check that out and see if it's even worth. It sounds like the gameplay is the same. It's just that the different environments are different. Maybe I don't know. So
yeah, the original on all major VR platforms and goes on sale a lot. Like you can pick it up $5, $6, $7 pretty frequently. So yeah, like I said, it was high on my wish list for VR until I got Wipeout, and then after I got Wipeout, I was like, well, why do I even need Radial G for? Everyone says Wipeout's a lot better.
I was just thinking that, like, I kid myself. Am I really going to be playing this? I've got a PlayStation 4 Pro on the way, and I'm going to be wipeouting it and better graphics. I don't think I'm going to be wanting to play this game probably, but I don't know.
Not the old version, but this shell shaded new version. These developers have the experience of two previous iterations to build upon, and they know what people like now. They know what people like about Wipeout now. I'm interested. I'm interested to see what they're coming at us with. I'm very surprised at this announcement just 1 month before the supposed launch of this game. I'm curious. I want to know what this is, and I think that it could be a great fit for Oculus Quest, especially.
So the graphics weren't the same. The cell shading and stuff is different. No. Didn't look like this. Oh, that's kind of cool. I do like the way it looks. It looks like a comic book almost. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and every other iteration that we've had of this kind of graphics in VR has looked phenomenal, and I look forward to seeing what this one turns out like. I look forward to checking out Tarzan. I think that looks really cool. The same art style in that. And it looks great. Like it translated wonderfully to Borderlands 2 VR, even on the PlayStation. It looked great. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I think it's cool. Gunheart's kind of like that a little bit too, isn't it?
Yeah, a little bit.
All right, moving on to another game with an interesting art style. Another game that just kind of hit us out of nowhere. Another game that's coming up in just a couple weeks' time. I'm talking about Stardust Odyssey. Now, this is one of those games that was mentioned during the last Sony State of Play, the one that everyone said no VR games were in. Well, here's one that did show up in it. Stardust Odyssey, a co-op spaceship shooter from Agartha Studio. getting this one on December the 3rd, Roots. So again, like the last game we talked about, just all of a sudden they announce, hey guys, guess what? You're about to get it. Looks a lot like Battle Blood to me, from an art perspective. Do you see that there as well?
Yeah, and I'm not big on these games where it seems like it should be good, where you are moving the guns with your arms and that type of stuff. It's okay. Battle Wake was the same way. I just didn't enjoy it as much.
Well, according to them, this is a little bit different than those style games. A little bit different than anything that I can think of. They're claiming that Stardust Odyssey is an adventure steering game with mixing. It says it's mixing stealth combat, bosses, and role-playing game elements. So the player embodies a smuggler whose mission it is to infiltrate convoys of nomad merchant ships. It's a fantasy world with oriental inspirations like the Silk Road and the nomadic tribe. It sounds to me like basically you're Han Solo before he joined the rebel forces, and you're trying to smuggle things through the Imperial fleets. But in this world, instead of using firepower strictly, there's magic. This is a magical world, and you have magical abilities. So says that it's playable in either single player or co-op mode, and that there are 14 levels that are filled with treasures, secrets, mini bosses, and main bosses. So a strange, interesting new game, unique. I think as much as the art looks like Battle of Blood, I feel like the gameplay here might be a little bit different.
Yeah, it looks unique, but it's at least for me, I am. I could be wrong, but it just looks like a game that I've played enough that are like this that I just don't like the gameplay. Like Battle Wake should have been amazing, and I just didn't enjoy it. I didn't want to be on a ship shooting stuff. I think that's the problem, is I'm just not into that type of a game. For somebody that loves these type of games, a shooter when you're on a ship, it's amazing. But
okay. Well, PlayStation VR exclusive here. Obviously, very clean visuals in these trailers. Do you think it's really going to look like this inside the headset?
I don't know. There was something that just popped up right at the end of the last cycle. It said something about it was reformatted for regular displays, and I don't know exactly what that means, but I would hope so. I mean, it doesn't look like it's that graphically hard, so or whatever you want to say. It's not too graphically intensive, so should look good, right?
Yeah, and you got to when we're trying to think about how this game is going to review, how people are going to receive this game, we got to also keep in mind the atmosphere in the PSVR community right now. These people don't have the Stormlands and the Asgard's Wrath to play. This game is probably going to be a pretty welcome addition to these people who are saying Gollum might be the game of the year, right?
Yeah, how depressing. And this is the good news, and this is for all you people on Reddit that just jumped down my fucking throat when I even suggested that Sony may in the future release Stormland on PS5, VR2, they just freaked out and said that, I was just stupid. And then we found out, that that is part of their deal when they bought Insomniac, that they are going to release Stormland at some point. But my point is because I have PC and I have Stormland and I have Asgard's Wrath, I take for granted that I get to play those games, and I can't imagine if I only had a PlayStation VR right now. I'm looking at getting a PC VR. I'm looking at how can I get a PC VR, because there's the games, the level jump, like you said, you just don't have that right now in PlayStation VR. We're in that lull where it's just not competing. They're focusing on the next gen, and PC's running away with it a little bit, and then PlayStation will come back next year and they'll start kicking ass again. But it's that lull, and I don't know how they're doing it. I couldn't do it. So
Yeah. Their patience definitely being tried in the PlayStation VR community right now, but they do have to be heartened by the fact that these sorts of things are cyclical, and even though PC VR seems to be winning the day today, obviously in a year, 2 years, PSVR is going to get their turn again. Now, something you just said here I found very interesting. You said that you were talking about Stormland coming to PSVR, and I agree. It's very much a possibility. I wouldn't know if I wouldn't consider it a likelihood, but you just said that we found out that it is in fact coming to PlayStation VR. Now, I haven't heard that. Did they say that Stormland is really coming to PSVR in the future?
Basically, and I did jump a little bit in that respect as far as 'cause those words weren't exactly what they said, but there was the debate whether Oculus owned Stormland, and it came out that that was part of the deal, that that Sony does own Stormland, that they can put it out if they want to.
Wow,
So
that's awesome.
Yes,
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, so I'm making the jump in my mind that if I owned it and I was Sony, and I had the PlayStation 5, that'd be the first thing that I would release when PlayStation 5 dropped, would be Stormland, November.
Yeah, and if that's true, that's actually good news for people who own Stormland on Rift, because what that means is that Sony's going to continue to allow the people that work for them at Insomniac to continue to develop and continue to improve upon that game, knowing that at one point down the road they're going to be bringing it out themselves. So yeah, if that's true, that's absolutely awesome news, not only for the PlayStation community but the PC community as well.
Yeah, it's 90. I know I read that either was on Reddit or on the Discord, and it was 99% sure that that's the way it is. So
cool. If that's true, that's awesome. That really is. All right. So anyway, Stardust Odyssey, a very unique looking game. Timely release for PlayStation VR owners on December 3rd. Hopefully it turns out to be really good. I look forward to hearing what the people who live within that space have to say about it. Moving on to a lesser known game, and we're coming down the stretch here. Of course, we got just a couple more new games that I just discovered today that I wanted to mention, make known to all of you lovely viewers out there. First of all, a game called Lonn. I don't know a whole lot about this game, but it does have a very cool looking trailer. Looks somewhere between Technolust and Sirento, or maybe like Sirento in the world of lo-fi. But it seems like lo-fi is not going to be the only cyberpunk that we get in 2020. This has been announced for release next year in 2020. It's being developed by Sixth Sense Studios. Since this title is set in a dystopian cyberpunk city where you play as Lonn, a conflicted bounty hunter who is trying to make a living and experiences a life-defining moment in which human society is under an urgent threat. Ruuts, what I read right there was pretty much what we know about this game. This game seems very similar to the premise of lo-fi, only whereas lo-fi is more of an open experience, this seems like it's going to be very linear, story-driven, action-driven gameplay. I think this looks cool as shit. What do you think?
Yeah, it looks good. The looks very, like you said, very cyberpunkish. And the gameplay looks pretty good. I kind of was, at first I didn't know anything about this when I first downloaded the trailer, and I was like, what the hell is this? Because it's so colorful and it almost looked like a Tron world, you know. But yeah, they've definitely got that the huge cyberpunk feeling it kind of almost looks like lo-fi, like the city and the flying cars and stuff. And but yeah, it looks pretty good.
Yeah, it looks like lo-fi. It looks like I mean, I hate to say it, but it looks like a lot like the game that we kind of wanted lo-fi to be. I'm sure that Mr. Renaud's going to have a much more vast expanse and probably a better looking world. Obviously, these trailers do a very good job at showing you the parts that are awesome and leaving out the parts that aren't. But I think this looks great. And I don't know anything about Sixth Sense Studios, but we're seeing a lot of these, aren't we? A lot of these very good looking games from indie devs, even if they don't play the best. The graphical fidelity in VR has jumped leaps and bounds, not only on the AAA level, but on the indie level as well.
Yeah, and it's a combination between the headsets, the hardware, and then of course what they're doing with the software. But there definitely is looking a lot better, and I think that the industry overall has gotten the graphics down, and now they're focusing on the gameplay. And once we get to the point where we're at, I guess, with Stormland and Asgard's Wrath in every game, and even those have a little bit of jank, but I think this does look good. So
yeah, it looks like there's a lot going on here, and hopefully looks aren't deceiving, because if this game is anywhere near as good as it looks, I think it's going to be it's going to be very good. I hate to heap too much praise on it from a trailer, but it's a very good looking trailer. It looks like it's been in development for a while, and I look forward to getting more details about this game and its launch going forward.
Yeah, I think it's ironic though, like all these trailers, you always see somebody these days climbing a ladder. It's like that. Oh, yeah, we got ladder climbing.
We got ladder climbing. Yeah, we have hands.
Yeah, we got hands.
Jazz hands.
Oh God.
Oh, all right. Anyway, moving on. One more game to talk about before we get into the later segments of the show, and this is an interesting one, or at least a small portion of our audience is going to be interested in this. This is a game called Theta Legion VR, and what this is, it's one of those Doom-inspired, Quake-inspired games, like we have a few of in VR already. We have, of course, we have some Doom ports. We have the Hexen port, the Wolfenstein port. We have a few of these games. Serious Sam comes to mind as being the one that was made from the ground up for VR, the last Serious Sam game. But there's an audience for this type of stuff, and it's those early 2000s PC gamers that were playing these games heavily have a strong nostalgia feeling when they play them, and they love playing these sorts of games. And I have fun in them for a while. I generally get sick of them pretty quickly, and I almost passed over this one. But the more I look at this, Ruuts, even though it has that older art style, I'm seeing some very good level design here. This game, the levels that I'm seeing here, from the little bit that gives us, it looks like the levels have a little more depth than those ports that were ported into VR or modded into VR have. I think this one might actually be pretty good for this style of game. What do you think about this?
Yeah, I think it looks pretty cool. I think the older style graphics is kind of probably what will make it good. Like, it's just like you said, it's especially to the people that it creates that nostalgia. I mean, one of the things that we want to do with VR is we want to be in the game. Well, that also includes this type of game that you used to play. You're still going to have the immersion, you're going to have the environment around you, but it's going to feel like you're in a, like you said, an early 2000 PC game. I just went inside it and now I'm shooting shit. That's the thing, is not everything has to look updated and perfectly graphic, the up to date with graphics of 2019. You can make it look like it's 2002, but you just zoomed in the game, and it looks really good. Actually, I like the way the guns look. I like the way that Um, Everything looks, the textures, the water looks good. I can't tell too much on the lighting, but I think this could be pretty good.
Yeah, that's the thing. There's a bunch of these games in VR, and some of them were intended to be VR games, others were modded to be VR games. But this one actually, in my opinion, looks like a pretty good one, and it looks like there's a lot of different levels here, a lot of different environments. Again, there's a certain depth to these levels that you don't always see in the modded ones, and I think that this could be really good. So it says it's playable seated with the gamepad, or you can use full ranged motion gameplay via room scale. So you can play room scale, or you can play it like an old school game. Your objective is to reach the heart of the evil corporation and end their sinister plans. The developer has yet to announce the launch details or the platform, but we do know that this footage was recorded from Oculus Rift gameplay, and the developer is currently testing on other devices and platforms. So, Ruuts, a Mamefan special here, through and through. I think he's going to dig it. Did you like this sort of game? Like Serious Sam. Did you enjoy those Serious Sam games?
Serious Sam's a different level, man. It's so fast paced. I really do love that game. And the way that you hear the guys running at you screaming, and it was just, I really enjoy Serious Sam. But yeah, no, I like this kind of game. Now, do you think that this is worth $40 though? No, just kidding. What is the cost on this? Because if this is $40, I'm out.
Yeah. I don't have any of those details. It hasn't been announced yet, but you never know. Sometimes guys put out games that look like this, and they think just because it took them 5 years of their life to make it, that it's that everybody's going to pay them $40 for it.
Yeah.
But no, not a $40 game. I don't know, $20, 25 would seem fair to me. But then again, you've got other people out there saying that. We've got Compound that looks kind of like this, and when it released for 20, that was too much. So who knows?
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. So
yeah, but anyway, I think this looks really good, and again, I almost passed over it because we have so many of these already. But I think this one looks good, and I think it has a lot of potential. All right. Anyway, that's going to wrap up our news segment for the week. Be sure to let us know what you think about it, not only in the comments down below, but like we said before, there's a Discord invite down there. Be sure to click that and get in on the conversation online on a daily basis. We're always in there. Come and check us out. So that's going to bring us into everyone's favorite segment, the Monday Show. Monday Show 15 tomorrow. And Ruuts, what I said at the top of the show actually was kind of the case this week. It was kind of a much needed break from the onslaught of new titles. Espire 1 came out, Vader came out, but they came out at the end of the week, which left us to our own devices for the good majority of the week, which let us play pretty much what we wanted to play this week. So we're going to have a backlog report tomorrow, right? I had a lot of fun this week. What about you?
Yeah, man. I put a lot of time into Stormland, and that's been my game of the week. And I'm excited to talk about it a little bit and let people know where Ruuts is at in that game and some other stuff as well.
Yeah. I would say the majority of my time this week was taken up by Stormland. So yeah, it's going to be a pretty sizable part of my backlog report as well. But we did have a couple of palette cleansers in there. Maybe even another big title. We'll see how it goes, how time allows. But yeah, Monday Show 15 tomorrow. We're going to have a backlog report, a much overdue backlog report, not only because we haven't done one for a while, but we haven't had time to just play what we want to play for a while because there's been so much new stuff coming out, like we said. So look out for that. The topic tomorrow, Something that I'm sure a lot of people are going to find useful. We're going to do a Black Friday week preview. We're going to talk about all the things that are on sale, software, hardware, PC components, VR headsets, everything that we can find. We're going to find the deals. We're going to let you know beforehand so you can get your money together, go sell your ass, do whatever you need to do to get the money together, and be ready for those sales. Ruuts has already got in on the magic. He's already made his first big purchase. I'm sure it won't be the last. Tune in tomorrow to find out what kind of deals we have found for you. All right, Ruuts. So I think that's going to wrap up the Monday show report. Just a parting thought before we leave. The last few weeks we've done this. I'd like to leave the people with a parting thought, a question, if you will, something for you to comment on down below, or like I said, join the Discord and talk about. So, this is my parting thought for this week. As the newer, more substantive VR games continue to appear in the digital stores over the next year, there's going to be less and less space for the short, independent experiences of old. What I want to know, is this going to be the case in our libraries as well? You know, it makes sense that people aren't going to be buying these games going forward, but what about our old favorites? What about the indie games that we enjoyed just 6 months ago? Have our standards now been changed forever? That we have felt how great a VR game can be? Or are we still going to be able to go back and enjoy these games the same way that we did before after we get used to what it feels like to play a AAA game? Ruuts, what do you say? Have we been ruined by these new games? Are we going to just have to wait now for the 3 or 4 great titles to come out a year, and that's all we're going to have to play?
I don't know if we have to wait for, only for those, but I can only go by my own personal experience, and I think they have pretty much fucked everything up. Like the game, the way Stormland feels, how good it is, the polish, just the way it feels. Like I go back into, I've already gone into some other games, and just little things are bothering me that used to not bother me. The way things move, or just whatever. Like even like I said, Espire 1, I'm climbing stuff and I'm thinking, this is cool, but it's not as cool as Stormland's climbing. And it is what it is, and it's just gonna, each game that comes out that sets that bar higher and higher, those indie titles are gonna be harder to justify spending the time in, even if it was my favorite,
Yeah, like Arizona Sunshine, a great example of this. We went into that to play that DLC not long ago, and granted, the DLC was lackluster, even by Arizona Sunshine standards. That game really not holding up anymore compared to the quality level of the newer games. And yeah, I'm definitely feeling, again, the Asgard's effect, as we coined the term here on this channel. But I don't know if it's a permanent effect or something that wears off over time. Of course, we have our great games now that we're all going to love playing. And of course, we all have our games that we broke in on that we're going to play for that feeling of nostalgia that we get when we go back to them. But what I'm wondering about are these games in between, the games that we were games that were our go-tos, the Jet Islands of the world. Are these games, are we ever going to be able to enjoy them again, or have they been ruined forever? Only time will tell. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Join the Discord. Let's talk about it. For those of you who are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. If you like this video, click the button that looks like that. And yeah, so that said, thanks for watching, friends. For Ruuts, I'm Wes. We'll see you tomorrow, friends. Bye-bye.
Easy.